Tonight, we are addressing concerns over the upcoming hurricane season, a little more than 2 months away now.
It has to do with federal staffing cuts taking place across the country. And WPTV's investigative reporter Kate Hussey has been pressing for answers, and she's here now to tell us what she found.
Yeah, absolutely, Matt. In fact, months ago, we had filed a public records request to obtain some documents from the National Weather Service, and we found that even prior to the federal government cuts and the layoffs of hundreds of federal employees and forecasters, staffing shortages were already a problem at National Weather Service offices across our area. So, as Matt mentioned, I pressed for answers as hurricane season is just a breath away.
Inside his South Florida home, Andy Hazelton thinks about the upcoming hurricane season, about 2 months away.
The hurricane part, I think people know.
Yet instead of working on hurricane models and other forecasting technology, he's washing dishes at home.
You know, there's just a lot that happens behind the scenes that people aren't even aware of. So.
Andy is a scientist with NOAA's Hurricane Modeling Center.
This is from Hurricane Helene.
He worked out of the National Weather Service's Miami office until February, when NOAA notified him he was terminated from his position.
And we only had like an hour of notice before our email was cut off and things like that. So it was pretty crazy.
According to this court ruling, he's one of at least 791 NOAA employees fired. It's part of the Department of Government Efficiency's massive layoffs.
It's been tough, because I just want to get back to doing the work that I do, protecting lives and property.
Andy did receive this letter of reinstatement last week, informing him of a district court's decision to put a temporary restraining order on the federal government's termination. Yet the temporary order only puts him on paid leave, not back at his desk.
And it's agency that's already kind of understaffed in some areas, and I'm just hoping that this is not going to lead to too much forecast degradation or too much of a problem. But if things continue, they could. And
now new documents I obtained from NOAA only add to his concern, proving staffing shortages at the National Weather Service in Melbourne were already an issue prior to the federal cuts. Months ago, I filed a public records request for NOAA's after-action report for Hurricanes Helene and Milton. Under things that could be improved, the report states there were no on-site deployments during either storm due to staffing. I reached out to NOAA. A representative told me no National Weather Service meteorologists were available to deploy prior to and during these storms to either local or state emergency operations centers to provide direct decision support to emergency managers.
They have been short-staffed, and that just puts more stress on the system.
Brad Coleman worked for NOAA for 38 years, now the past president of the American Meteorological Society. He worries these cuts will not only impact the accuracy of forecasts, but further hinder local officials' ability to consult meteorologists on life-saving decisions like evacuation orders during these dangerous storms.
You're weakening the system, and as you weaken that system, ultimately what you're doing is you're switching from depending upon a professional to help you through the system, through the weather or the storm. You're more and more hoping you get lucky. And I think none of us really wants to depend upon luck.
I reached out to NOAA to see if the federal cuts have impacted the Melbourne office further. In an email back, NOAA told me they can't discuss internal personnel and management matters, but said they continue to provide dedicated decision support for local officials virtually. Their statement reading in part, quote, "We are not required by statute to deploy to an EOC for a storm. However, we prefer to deploy when we can, as being eye to eye with decision makers is beneficial."
So the Weather Service forecasters are that first line of defense. They're the ones communicating these forecasts. And as you remove people, as you weaken that line of defense, what you do is you increase risk. The chance of a storm being missed, a thunderstorm being missed.
For Andy,
there's always a constant supply of dishes that need to be washed.
That's exactly his concern too, hoping those in charge don't wash their hands of him permanently.
That's all we want to see. We want to see the forecasts stay as good or continue to get better so that people have better warning when disasters do come.
Well, I've reached back out to the White House multiple times for a response to see if DOJ is aware of these concerns. I have not heard back, but these concerns do come as NOAA suspended weather balloon flights at 8 offices across the country. None of those are in our area, but according to NOAA memos that we obtained, the suspension was specifically because of a lack of staff.